a pretty big failure that I just had in the last couple of days, and some tricks that you can use with the Viper. And probably how many out of the 11 people that are here tonight right now, how many of them are Viper users?
Raise your hand.
Okay, so I can only see 5 right now, but that's good. So we're pretty good. We're pretty high, maybe 90%. So hopefully I can help you guys with. Hey, there's Nicholas. I saw him recently. How are you, sir? Yeah. So I'll show you guys. I know. Bear with the tool. There's a lot of updates. A lot of times it's a struggle, but it's because he's staying in front of Google. He's really making the changes, and he doesn't step away from it. So I'm sure he has asked you to be patient, but I'm also going to ask you to be patient as well. As of right now, can we edit Viper campaigns, or do we have to delete and start over? If you have, you can clone and then edit the clone, if that makes sense. Let me see here. I'm going to share my screen again if you don't mind.
Yeah, it's cool. I mean, I'm able to go into my Vipers and edit them. Only thing I'm never able to do is you can't go, but if you started at 200 views, I can't go down to 100 views. I can actually go and edit the dates or anything I want without ever touching anything. So
yeah, usually I don't know if I have any campaigns in here or not. Yeah, so I cleaned them out. But if you clone the campaign, for sure, there has been times where you can't edit it. Good night. You just clone it, make a new one, do the edits you want, and fire it up. So usually that will work 100% of the time. Hi. I love it. My little ones are on their way to bed too right now.
All right, yeah, you're good to go. I got it recording for you and everything, so thank you. Okay.
So I'd like to say hi to everyone. Appreciate having me on. William's done a lot of great things for me in the last little while, and I'm glad that a bunch of you guys jumped on board with the Viper tool. So I just want to show you some strategies that I put together. So I'll start by who I am. My name is Brent Bowser. If you have any questions and you want to follow me, please follow me on Facebook at GMB Brent Bowser. I have 2 Brent Bowsers. One of them is my personal account. There's a bunch of guys on there. My mom doesn't really need to see what I do online, so I'm trying to split it up. So if you don't mind going there, I'd love to help you. My hometown, or where I'm from, is just north of Toronto. It's a place called Barrie, Ontario. If you maybe heard of Muskoka, Muskoka is a pretty famous place around the world. Great cottage country. And then just a little bit about SEO and the guys I look up to. So Michael's done a ton of work for me. He's really helped me a lot. So I look up to Michael. He's a great strategist. He really understands the business. William, like I said, has done a lot of things for me. I find great comfort in knowing that I can go and listen to Chris Palmer and trying to work out at whatever level he is on or whatever he's vibrating at. If I can get the vibrations in my head the same, I can make out what he's saying. There's always a plethora of amazing information there. And you're going to see some of the stuff in my tactics that ultimately came from Chris's videos. So again, if you're looking for CTR, he is a great guy to follow. And then there's Michael Merlino, who is my partner, and we just started a business called CTR Geeks. So we'll push some information about that. Please don't worry, I'm not here. There's no upsell. It's just something we're going to do to try and help with the Viper community and anyone else that's interested in CTR manipulation. So how I got started, I literally wanted to be a YouTube creator, and it all stemmed from a bet. A friend of mine had a monetized channel, and then they changed to the 4,000 watch hours and 1,000 subscribers, and he said it couldn't be done. So I went out there and I hustled, and I got a monetized channel, and I won my $100. And what it did is, and it was a side hustle, it was just something for fun, and it led me to Michael's group. And then I became part of the mastermind group there, and it's really, really exploded what I've learned and how I do business. And it's still a side hustle for me, but it's building quickly. I'm going to have to decide about the 9 to 5 very soon. so I would suggest anyone that can find a like group. I know you guys are, a lot of you are on William's group. It's a great group. And those backwards and forth meetings. Our meeting last week, I think, was 5 hours long. So there's a lot of great nuggets tossed back and forth. So I highly suggest mastermind groups if you're thinking about building your business. And then what I'd like to cover today is GMB boosting with YouTube and Viper. And then I'm going to show you some of the tricks I use, and we'll try and go through those a little bit of free flow. And then we got lots of time for some questions. So expectations is you need to know how to create optimized content on all platforms, YouTube, on page for your website, and your GMB. That's an expectation before Viper's ever going to help you. Number two is you need to understand that Viper or CTR manipulation is not magic. So if you're on page 10 right now, this is not the place to start. So you need to go back to page or to bullet point 1 and really learn about getting the content optimized and get on all your platforms and make sure those are on point. And I'm going to show you something really cool at the end that I learned out of a failure that I spoke about a little while ago, but I'll leave that to the end. CTR manipulation is not a perfect science. We're all kind of just playing around trying to do testing and learn what works. We know it works. I can prove that it works. And there's a lot of guys out there right now that are proving it to be working. And the next thing is that how much, how little, that's the testing that needs to go. And that's what I'm going to show you today is the testing that I've done that's got me good results. So really what you're doing in CTR manipulation is you're acting as a group of people. And I heard this earlier this week. It's like a democracy. I'll pick on the Americans here because I'm from Canada. But they said the election was fixed, and all we're doing is fixing the election. So we got this great big group of people, and we're going to point all of those people at the person that we want to run the country, or the website that we want, or the YouTube video. But that's really what CTR is. And then how many you point, when you point them, and what do they do when they get there? So that's what we're really after. And then, and I'm going to assume that because you were here last night that Michael showed you, and you basically know how to use the tool. So this is my test site, and this is the one that really kind of popped it off for me with CTR, and it's my carpet cleaning. It's a lead gen site. I would love for you guys all to run and run over to the GMB. Unfortunately, it got suspended, and it got picked up back by the person that had it before me. So there is no GMB there anymore. So this content is now outdated. I apologize, but it happened on the 30th, just a couple of days ago. But this is a video that I created for a video citation to help my GMB. So best carpet cleaning Barry. It's got the phone number. It's got my logo, and Google can now pick up this text. So your thumbnail is keyword sensitive. So you want to make sure that you're putting the keywords that you want to be found for right in your thumbnail. And then this is the naming convention. So what I use is I always locate it wherever it is for local business. Nationally, obviously, I'd use the national. Then I have my main keyword, and then I use the opposite variation of that keyword. And then I use the branded.com without the URL in front of it, or the HTTP. And then this has just had 89 views. This is the really important thing to take away from this page is January 22nd at 21. So when I put it into the Viper, campaign name, I would use just whatever. I just use whatever my title is. And then if you want to keep them categorized, this is a great option for if you have clients. This one I'm going to use default type, and we're just gonna talk default for this one. And then what I'm gonna have is the links in the description. So in the description of my video, I have my Facebook page, I have my Google Maps share link, and I have the branded URL. Okay. And then what we're gonna do is come over here, and we're gonna set up the search, the bottom part of the page. If you want to put comments in, the comments now are working well. They weren't when I did this study. So you can put it in, make sure you use spin text format, or it'll just spit out everything that if you put 100 things in, it'll put 100 words on or 100 phrases on every one. So make sure you use spin text formatting. And then what I do is I take the, if we go back one, sorry, two, if we take this title, I'm going to use that title again, and I'm going to take out the hyphens, and I'm going to put in commas. So that's all I'm doing. And then I'm going to like it and share it. And again, if we go back to that democracy and we tell everybody what we want to do, we're telling everybody that we want the like social signals, and we want them to share it because the content's worth sharing. So those are two great things that can happen. If it's all my videos are very short because they're citations and not anything more than that, I run them at normal speed. You do have the option to run them at up to 2 times speed because the Viper will take 10 minutes. So you can put a 20-minute video in there if you wanted to. So early in the Viper days, I'll tell you, there was a group that came in that was truly just trying to monetize YouTube channels. So they were putting in 1 hour videos and then trying to run them out for an hour, and it bogged the system down. You think things are tough now? You should have seen it then. So that's why there was a time limit put in, and it's good. But this with the double time now, you can get up to a 20-minute video. So that covers most of your affiliate type videos and definitely your lead gen citation videos. So here, I wanted you to remember that 20. So this is on January 20 right here. The citation went out on the 22nd. There is some citations built here, but it went from 42 to number 2 in the map pack for this keyword, and it's been there ever since. It's had a couple of days where it dropped out, but it came right back up. And like I told you, this GMB is now no longer. So if you do go there, you're going to find a Taekwondo studio. Then just to go back I just want to show that with this naming convention, obviously it's super long tail, but we're going to get Viper views to all 3 of these. So what it's going to do is it's going to pop it up and make it number 1 in this really long, unique URL or title, which means it's going to be number 1 in YouTube because there's just nothing named that. And then what's going to happen is we're going to drive CTR to each one of these. So this one you can see the URL is gone and it's still number 1. And then you take it out to just best carpet cleaning, which is truly the keyword that I wanted, and it's number 1 right behind this ad. So the theory works. Make it long because then it puts it number 1 first. Drive traffic to all 3, and then it'll break it down, and you're going to be seen for 3 things for 3 different three different variations for your title. So I think is there any questions about this so far? I don't want to speed along if anyone's got any questions.
I'd like to know why the GMB was suspended.
So the GMB was acquired by a method. It was not a natural business. It was someone that hadn't claimed it, and I claimed it. So I claimed it, verified it through a method, and then they disputed it. Obviously, it's up as the GMB that it used to be. So they must have disputed it and brought it down. So purely my fault, not the tool's fault.
What's your goal with this?
My goal with what?
What you're doing here? What are you trying to do something to the GMB?
Yeah. So the GMB is now the GMB is number 2 in the maps for 25 kilometers. Or sorry, number 2 for 25 kilometers for this key phrase. So anytime that you go onto mobile, my lead gen site for carpet cleaning, if you go to the GMB now, it's a martial arts, but before it would come up and it would be number 2, and that would drive probably anywhere in between 50 and 75 calls a month. And then I rent the site out to a carpet cleaner locally.
That's incredible.
Incredibly good or incredibly bad? I'm not sure to take that.
Incredibly good.
Awesome. Yes, thank you. Yeah, so that's how I got in. When I got into SEO, this is what I did. I went to the rank and rent kind of platform, and that's what I did at the beginning. And now it's kind of got past that to where I do client work. with Mike.
Yeah,
So then sorry?
Grant, you mentioned something about citation on the videos or something like that. I'm not
Yeah.
sure if I missed something. That's not something I'm familiar with.
Sorry. So I go back. Let's go back to inside every one of my descriptions. So so when I thought, are you guys how maybe we'll just go back to how to best SEO a YouTube video for a citation. So when it's a citation and you're trying to boost a GMB with it, it has to have your NAP. So your name, address, and phone number. So when it has that, and you drive traffic into it from an outside entity, then it's going to drive traffic through the URL for the GMB, which then gives, it's basically like a backlink. It's a point of, I went from this Google entity to this Google entity, and it pumps it up because you're driving traffic from one place Google can make money to another place that Google can make money. And I don't know how much you guys get into stacks, but that's basically why stacks work, is because you're pushing people, visitors from one Google platform to another, keeping them on heavy dwell time on Google entities so that they can make the most amount of ad revenue.
Okay, so the idea here is to make sure that once the citation is done, we're going to do a video like this, and we need to make sure to put the business name and the phone number like we can see it in green on the video, and that's pretty much what we need to remember from where we are at so far.
Yeah, and in your description, make sure that at the bottom of your description you have three things. So top and bottom, you want to have this name, whatever you named your video.
Okay.
Should be the very first line in your description. And then you can put whatever rich text you want throughout the video, like throughout the description, being keyword rich, but readable, however you do that. And then you want this same title to be the last thing in the description. And then outside of that, you want your links, these links. I also put my Instagram link, and if you have whatever you have a Pinterest link, all of those links in here. I only drive traffic to these three, but you could drive traffic to all of them. That's fine. But this is what I do. And then under that, you want the name, address, and phone number.
Okay,
and
so those links need to be in the description, and at the really end, we're going to put the NAP.
That's right. Yep.
Okay,
Yep.
thanks.
And then when it drives through there, all of that information drives back and equals up to all the other citations that you've built out for your site.
Okay,
Okay.
thanks.
No trouble.
Is there any benefit to using the CID instead of the map link?
So I'm going to be really honest with you. I don't think so. I think there was at one time. I think they've closed that. They've closed that off. I use either the URL or the share link, and I've had the most success with it. If you go back and look at some older YouTube videos from Chris Palmer and Craig and Holly and all the people that I truly believe are super awesome at this stuff, they were using the CID for a long time. And if you look at JP, I don't know if you know JP, but he also was using the CID, and they're all now kind of moving away from it. Okay. So I am not going to say I'm in the same understanding of this whole world as they are. But my success has not been with the CID. It's been with the share and with the URL.
Have you tried using the free.business site?
Yes. Yeah. So if I have multiple, this is where we get myself into trouble, but when we have multiple GMBs for one location, I'll use the G site for everything else other than my central, like solid GMB. And then I link them all together.
Thanks.
But yeah, I know a lot of guys try to build out sites to all those different GMBs, but you can do it with the G site.
I have a question. You use only this citation in YouTube, or you also put direct traffic to GMB to rank this carpet cleaning?
This one, I didn't put any direct traffic to the GMB. This was all
So-
through citation building.
Also, just citation give so
Yeah.
big kick and put your GMB in a 3-pack?
Now,
Oh, that's great.
so now that being said, we have to realize that I live in a town. This is a local town for my local lead gen, and it's about 150,000 people. If I was in New York, I think I would have to probably drive a lot more traffic to the GMB itself. And I'm going to show you my next kind of hack that will probably answer your question. It's pretty exciting. So just give me a second.
Actually, I got about over 100 GMB for a small towns, smaller than 150,000. So,
I love it.
So it's gonna, So how long took you after you put the video? How much traffic you put to this video, and how many days took you to rank?
So this was 89 views. So I'm going to tell you, this is 150. What happens with the Viper is you're going to notice that those view counts never match what you put in. And it all depends on the amount of people on the system that keep it going. So if the Hydra is going and only 45 or 50 people are using it, and you put in 500 videos, that same URL is going to show up and show up and show up and show up. And then Google will, or YouTube then will not use those as views. So those views will never count. So that's why the new Hydra has the phone and residential IPs as well to try and mitigate that stick. But those views don't all stick, but the ones that do stick are super powerful. So try not to get hung up on the statistics of the tool, because this works. I mean, and then if we look at that January 22nd, so January 22nd this is the 20th, and this is the 27th, and I'm at number 2. This site was built out on December 25th, so 5 days before this. My tracker goes 90 days. So the site was actually built out just 5 days before this.
Okay, and let me know how many views you put per day in a Viper.
So I went to, here's the view count right here, 210. So I took 50% of that and broke it up over the days times 3. Does that make sense?
So how many views was there per day?
I took 210 divided by 30 and then multiply it by the number of your keywords.
Oh, okay.
If you go, so I'm gonna explain something a little different, because I've changed my mind on how this works, and I'm testing it right now, but I don't have the results. So I'll give it to you as a open test, but I don't have the results to back it up. But that's what I was doing at this point. But you don't want to go heavily over this. When you're thinking, if we go back to earlier when we were talking, and you look at views, and you look at again, this democracy that we have, and we're pointing people, if we take out this massive amount and say, so the search volume for this keyword is 210, and I send 1,000 views over the month, Google knows something's wrong. So my check to that is that on my GMB, I post a special, do some kind of special, and then I put that special out on all my entities. So Facebook, Instagram, Pinterest, whatever I can put it out on. I love Tumblr, so I put it out on a ton of Tumblrs. And then because it sees this advanced amount of something that you've added, especially if you did like a news post or anything like that, you can link back, especially in your stack, then you can jump this number up really high for 3 or 4 days, right? Because you've done something to draw traffic. It's like you put a TV commercial on and all of a sudden you got all this traffic to your website, but it's got to taper back down to what's normal. If it doesn't taper back down to what's normal, then you're going to end up, having problems.
And how did you pick the 210 as the number?
This is from SEMrush.
Okay, so that's just the volume of that particular keyword for the month?
That's right. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I would add, though, keep in mind the seasonality of your keyword, because it's an average over 12 months. So
Yeah.
if you have, a season later in the year, it's counting on the slower months as well. So maybe you do need extra traffic in the season.
That's a very, very good point. The reason I didn't bring that up here is because it's carpeting. It's not very seasonal. But my roofing sites, definitely that's the case. That's a great point. Thank you.
So it was 210 divided by what? Times
30 days.
30 days, and then times the amount of keywords you use in the run.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
And again, it's a test. So it worked here with the competition level. And then I've had others that it didn't work and I had to jack it up. And that's when I put those other, those specials out to try and show Google that, that we're doing something special. And that's why we're getting a whole bunch more views. The next thing that I use Viper for is to try and index my citations quicker. I said just a little while ago, I'm a big fan of Tumblr. I have a big group of Tumblrs that I control, and I put out all my citation links that I get built, third-party citation links, and then I put them all on a Tumblr, and then I drive traffic, heavy traffic, 500 or 600 views to that Tumblr, and it goes through all of these and indexes them quicker. So I started my index campaign here on the 1st of February, and I was at 24, and it just climbs up from there. So I'm at 46 of the ones that I've put in. So it's an excellent way that I've found to get your index or your index your citations. So another trick. And this is the one that this is the one. So let's show Google who's the best. What I do is, these are not my sites by any means, but I picked this as being my site for the example. So Rouse Plumbing, but we want to be here. We don't want to be here. So what I do is I create driving directions from Harris Plumber to my entity. And then I take the URL. This is, let me do this here. So I take this URL, the whole URL, right up to, you guys can see that, right to the lat long, right before the Z. So all of this stuff is Google stuff. We don't need it. So I take that and then I put it into, the Viper under this URL right here. And then I use direct non-search traffic. And what this does is doesn't search. It doesn't go through the search console. It just goes directly to this URL. And what it's telling Google is that I went to this plumber, didn't get what I wanted. So I got on my phone and I went to this plumber, and then I never left. It's saying that didn't get what I wanted here, definitely got what I wanted here. And that is a great signal. This strategy has worked on a bunch of client sites.
Can you give us a little more details in that campaign? Like, how many searches, et cetera, keywords?
Yeah,
that
so
sort of thing?
I sent, if there's no keywords, because you're going directly to this URL, it's just a straight search. You're just sending eyes to this one. I sent out 1,000. I said 1,000 people went and checked this out, which I think is probably, I was trying to break it to see what was the problem, and it never, it was not a problem. It worked. It went up 5 spots. So it went from number 5 to, I don't have it, it's a client site, so I don't want to put it up, but it went from the 5th place out of the 3-pack to number 1 in the 3-pack. And it's been there for, I would say 60 days with no waiver. And I've never done it again. It was just a one-time shot.
What do you mean by that, a waiver, Brand? You mean you have?
Yeah, didn't bounce.
Like that?
Didn't bounce. Didn't go from position 1 to position 3, position 5. It never did the dance. It just hit there and stayed there.
Okay.
You mean you've never been able to replicate it, or you only did the one test?
I've done it a bunch of times. I just, in this one, I only ran one campaign.
I'm sorry, how much traffic?
I sent 1,000.
And over how long of a period? 30 days?
But no, it was over probably 5 days. I was trying to break it. I was trying to see if it would go up or down.
Wow,
And
okay.
and it just went up.
And how would you do it for a service-based business?
So this was I did it for roofing. So that's service. What are you trying to do?
Like a service area that doesn't have an
service
exact
area.
address.
So yeah, so service area. I know that you don't want anyone to see your service area, but if you go to if you right click on your site that doesn't have your GMB, you right click on your GMB and you go to the source code.
Yeah,
and I think if you go to source,
address.
Yeah, it's like line 256 or something like that.
Yep.
So it's there.
Okay.
So you can use this strategy. It'll take both of, like, you put it up, it'll give you the Latin long, and then you just drive the traffic. No one sees it, but it'll work.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Yeah.
How many times have you tried this technique?
4 times.
And all 4 worked?
Well, I haven't got to number 1 right away with any of the other ones. But they've all gone from, in the top 10 to in the top 3.
That's amazing. I'm very impressed.
Yeah, it's a cool strategy. Again, I'm
going to do that tonight.
I can't take full credit from it. You can go back and that's a Chris Palmer. Chris Palmer kind of brought it out in a different way. And because he doesn't have, or at least he doesn't teach that the Viper, I don't know that he had the ability to fire the traffic at it that we do with Viper.
Definitely did not. I took his course too, and he's not doing that.
Yeah, but he did talk about this strategy, and that's where I got it. So I'm not here to take credit for anything, but I used it and it works.
Yeah, I've seen an aspect of this where you just embed this into like pages on the site, but from there, if traffic is not coming, so this makes a ton of sense to just drive traffic directly to that.
Yeah, and that's the nice thing about this feature in Viper is that you can do direct non-search traffic. So you want to switch up your traffic from all different entities, right? You want some search traffic, you want some branded traffic, and you want some citation traffic. So run this thing through Yelp and then Yelp to your page, and then you want direct traffic. Like, I know where it is, I just need to find it, and here you are, and you got it. So now you've just covered all of the social signals and all of the ideas of an actual human, because it really is.
Brent, can you show them? So for example, when you're doing the driving traffic from your competition to your actual, your GMB, or show them that, and then where would they place that quote unquote URL searched in the CTR Viper?
Oh yeah, it's right here. So this URL, the reason I showed you on the thing is because I couldn't get the whole URL in for the picture.
I was having some people ask. It's like, how do you, I know it, but go ahead.
Oh, so then when this is your Viper tool. Yep. And there's your campaign name and your category, and this is for the Google Viper, not for like video. It's for Google. And then you want to put the URL right in here for the website URL, this long URL. Again, we don't need this stuff. You just need to the second Latin long. Put it in here and go direct non-search. And I think a bunch of people didn't know about this feature.
Go back to the screen, please.
Yeah.
They could see that again. You're just taking the, what's this? It's I know about the Latin long, but over here to the left,
let's do this. Let's go, bear with me for a second here.
That way everybody can see exactly how much of it they're going to have to pull.
Yeah, so here it is right here. Can you guys see where the blue is?
So you pull all the way to the end of the Latin long, and then you put that into your Google search on the Viper, not YouTube and not the GMB, but the actual non-direct search, because they're literally what I told them. I said, it's literally like you're manipulating the driving direction. It's like a bounce rate. Think of bounce rates, and that's exactly what you're doing. A bounce rate is I looked for a plumber near me. I went to Johnny and I found out I don't like Johnny. I like Brent. So I stayed at Brent. That's exactly what this is doing, except you're doing it to all your competition.
Yeah. And that's the next point. So if we go back, So then I would, after I did this campaign, then I'd run a campaign to Harris, and then I'd run a campaign to this custom.
All with 1,000 each?
So I was trying to break it. So you guys, pick what you want to pick. I would start, you guys all have money sites. I wasn't really worried about the one I was using. So I would be less aggressive.
What about the time on the site for that figure?
I use 4 minutes for everything.
So how come you're doing driving directions from your competitors to your site, or to your client's location, and not just trying to do landmarks that are outside your proximity and try to break the proximity filter that way?
This is not about proximity. This is about showing Google that you're better than the guy in first place. This is purely showing you that you went to this person, you went to Right Plumbing, and they didn't have the service or what you wanted. So you got on your phone, you found this one, which is your entity, and you went to there and you spent 4 minutes on that site, and you never left. You didn't bounce to another site after that. So that's telling Google the best you can tell them that you made a purchase. It's exactly what William said. It's bounce rate. If you're looking at your website and you have a good click-through rate, but horrible content, and the bounce rate's really high, it doesn't matter how good your click-through content or your click-through rate is, because they're bouncing right away. And that's a signal to Google saying that the content's no good and you can't find what you're looking for.
It's really, you're manipulating two things. You have your bounce rate, which you never want your bounce rate to be high, right? Why don't you want to be high? Because the higher your bounce rate is showing you, actually, A, your website sucks and I'm not interested in you. B, the longer someone stays on there, if they stay on the website and they go from your competition to you and they stay there, I'm not only manipulating bounce rate, I'm manipulating driving directions, and I'm manipulating authority. Better than proximity is authority. Now I'm showing myself like I'm an authority, if you will, as a plumber in New York. So everybody's going to start coming to me, and Google's going to naturally go, oh shit, everybody's going to this place and they're staying there much longer. They must be an authority. They must be somewhere they like. They must like the content. We should reward them.
Yeah.
That's all it's doing.
But now to directly to your point, Drew, if you want to do proximity, then the strategy that you just pointed out is perfect. I would actually do the same thing.
Yeah, because that works, I think.
100% it works. Yeah, for sure. If you're trying to expand your service-based business and trying to get your proximity bigger, there's a couple things you can do. That's one of them. Or we won't get into it today, but you can stack IMAPs.
Yep.
And then drive traffic to the bottom IMAP, and then just link your IMAPs one on top of each other until you're out to where you want to be. But you can use Viper for that as well.
You mentioned that you can use Viper to go to Yelp and then to your site. How do you do that?
You can use so there's a new, I haven't really played around with it, so I'll leave that up, but there's a whole bunch of, let's see, where are we? There's some coined.
I just set up a campaign like that last night.
So in here, there's these. So if you go to Yelp and put the URL here, then it searches through Yelp to your website URL.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah. So, and again, I apologize. I haven't played around with these very much yet. Video embeds, I've played around with a little bit. Tumblr, I just do direct. Because I've been using the tool before this was in, my process is just to go direct.
Would you put, for example, if you're doing the Yelp, would you put the link to your Yelp page if you have one?
Correct.
Yeah.
Yes. There? Okay.
Yes. Yep. It's whatever, just think of it as you're trying to drive from one to another. So you're going to Yelp, it's going to say, and in your Yelp, you have your website page. So it goes through Yelp. They found you on Yelp. They went to your web page. They stayed for 4 minutes. It's the same. It's the same authority, right? That we just talked about.
I assume if you click off a bunch of these and put URLs, it'll rotate through them. Is that how you?
It does rotate through them. Yep. And it's not a perfect, it's random. It's just random. You might, in one campaign, you might get a bunch of Google sites if you pick it, or Google images and some other ones. And then the next one might be different. There's no, it's not like it goes to 2 to 2 to 2 to 2.
I'm amazed. This is incredible.
You know, I have a question. So
Sure.
let's say I want to direct the traffic from Yelp to my website. So in a place of the Yelp, I'm putting the link to the Yelp profile, and on the tab, I'm putting my URL, my landing page, my website. Yes, this is how it works.
That's right. Yep.
Okay, thank you.
So I'm going to discuss something with you guys that just kind of came light today. There's some chatter, but theories out there right now is, if you guys, have you seen the 2-pack instead of the 3-pack?
Yep.
It's coming
I
up.
thought that was
It
April
is.
Fool's.
Nope. It's coming.
I've seen it.
Yeah, it's coming. It's not April Fool's.
It's been
Everything
out for a
online
bit.
about, everything online about backlinks not being needed, that was April Fool's. But the 2-pack is serious, and now they're talking about how Google at one point tried to buy Yelp, and that deal is back on the market. And they're trying to see the influence of Yelp on the 2 or 3-pack. And there is a study out there. I don't have it here, but you can look for it. You are 82% more likely to be in the 3-pack if you rank in one of the top 3 citation sites. Right. So if you rank in Yelp, then you are 80% plus chances of being in the top 3. You don't have to be, but you've definitely got a better chance. So driving traffic back down through those is again awesome.
You said the top 3. Which are the top 3?
So Yelp, Home Advisor, and I don't know the third one. If someone knows it, I'm not sure. Pardon me? Was it Angie's List? Okay, Angie's List. Could be.
Do you have a process for us to rank on Yelp?
I wish I did. I'm working on it right now. I'm trying to break Yelp. It's tough, man. Yelp is way tighter than anything I've ever seen. If anyone's got anything though, William's got a big smile on his face, so he must have some ground. But sorry, I am not versed in Yelp.
Send some traffic and links. Throw links behind the traffic. That usually helps.
Everybody, Mark Molina's in the house.
This
is one bad MF right there. Teaches me everything I know.
Knock it off, man. Yelp, throw some backlinks to your Yelp profile. Don't get too crazy, because they pass the link juice to your money site of, obviously. But if the CTR alone doesn't help to rank the Yelp profile, the links usually will get you there. Get creative with your GMB posts, link to your Yelp, stuff like that.
There you go.
Cool. Thank you.
That's my partner, people. All right. So let me hop back here for a quick second. So here's something really cool I just wanted to end with. Google Search Console, lots of people talk that it doesn't know what your GMB is doing. And I proved it out of my failure and my suspended GMB, which I told you was Taekwondo Studio. This is in my Google Search Console. And I went back through this site on more than one occasion to make sure there was no way that any of these words were on my site, and they're not. They were only buried in the GMB because it was a Taekwondo studio before it was my carpet cleaning studio that was used for the thing. So this is Google Search Console is picking up stuff from your GMB. So that means that when you're picking keywords, make sure the keywords for your GMB to boost them come from your Google Search Console, because that means they're everywhere. That means they're on your GMB and already, and they're also on your website, which means they support each other. And when they support each other, you can run traffic from both directions, and you're getting the same result, meaning that you're the authority about that keyword. And that's what I got for you today. So again, we've been kind of going through questions as we went. So that's awesome. Is there anything else that I can clean up for you? And now that we got Mikey in the room, there's some other ninja stuff there in that mind if he'll bring it up as well.
This is off topic, but you mentioned earlier about extending the GMB proximity.
Yep.
And doing that with stacking IMAP.
Yep.
It did this. It did what?
Oh, well, that's a strategy that's going to take longer than the 10 minutes we got. You can hit me up at GMB Brent Bowser, and I would gladly talk to you about it.
Awesome, man. Appreciate it.
No, anytime. If we're not friends there already, make sure that we are soon. Anything else? Chris just popped up there. You have anything to say, Chris? Love your backdrop, man. That's a badass room you got.
Oh yeah, just got that.
I love that.
No, I missed some of the things you guys were talking about. As soon as you mentioned that putting in the driving directions, I pulled down the screen. I started doing campaigns to. Cool. I have a feeling that's going to do something for me.
It will. It will. And to be fair, make sure that everybody realizes that what I showed you today is in my town, and I picked stuff that I know I could rent out. So it's not New York City, it's not Miami, and so it might take you more traffic, it might take you more time, but the base theory works, and that's what we're trying to test. And like I said at the beginning, we're all just trying to test to see if we can either break it or beat it, right? And the best thing to do is to know the rules so that you can bend the rules. I don't know what you guys think. I asked this on my page the other day, what you think white hat and black hat is. And my opinion is we're all black hat. So just tilt it down and go hard. If you build one link, you're a black hatter. So don't tell me any different.
Correct.
That was a badass presentation. Can you teach us some more badass stuff we don't know?
Well, to be fair, I was supposed to come on Thursday. I had to back out. But I apologize, but I definitely, anytime you guys want to get together, we could fire something up on William's page if he'll have me. And if not, we can, William's going to get all mad at me that I'm going to invite you to mine, but you can come to my page and we could build a group and we can go through it, because in my opinion, like I said earlier, if you're not working with the people that are doing it and putting the theories out and testing them,
correct,
you're nothing. William and I were talking just before this. So there's 250 plus, things that Google checks that are in the algorithm. We're all going to pick one or two, and we're all going to find out one or two. No one's put it together yet, right?
Like I finally figured out there's a stack I'm going over in my GMB. I made a new stack. No one has this stack at all whatsoever. And it's in my GMB class. And when I come back next week, I'm going to be going over it, but I've already tested it and I know it damn well works.
That's awesome.
I've been trying to remember the RSS feed and how to put that on your website.
Yeah.
I created a stack using that GMB post, the actual business site, embedding the whole thing on the website, everything. Created a stack out of it.
That's cool.
And I know it works. So I'm going.
Is that part of the stack that I'm getting there, Will?
No, sir. Totally different.
Damn.
You're Robert. You're in the GME Mastermind too, right? Then you'll see how we do it, because I go over every stack we do. I'm teaching people in that one how to do that stack, and then we're going to go over how to create the, if you will, the G stacks, and then how to create the high DA stacks. Most people say, well, they don't work. The problem is they don't work because you're not using them. You're not sending traffic to them. You're not sending backlinks to them. You're not doing, it's like citations. Oh, they don't work. Well, they don't work because you're not putting traffic to them. You're not doing backlinking to them. Of course, they're not going to work.
That's why I love Tumblr, because Tumblr is a flat, straight out do follow link in the description. And if you can mine old Tumblrs that have big TA and DA, man, those are money.
Yeah, and I just got in I got into the oldest PBN non-spamming network. I just got this last week, and the guy, I'm talking about millions of Web 20s. So the guy used to work with Chaz until there was a falling out, which, you know, whatever. But nevertheless, we got it. Still works. He normally you're not supposed to quote unquote rank for let's say 6 months or whatever, because you're in the Google sandbox. The guy, brand new site, brand new everything. We started sending traffic to it via his web 20s. The next day, we were already ranking for keywords. 7 new keywords popped in just from using his network. So, but we'll be going over all that. If there's not any more questions for Brent, I'd love to have Brent back on. I want him on GMB as well. But the thing is, he had some family emergency to deal with this week. But likely I'm going to have him on. Dan Kurtz is going to actually be on, which if you don't know him, you better know him. Go on my Facebook page and find him in my friends list. Add him as a friend if he's not your friend. If you don't have him as a friend, you're doing yourself a disservice. He's one of these SEO Lone Rangers that not a whole lot of people know about. Dan Kurtz. Kurtz, Kurtz. We're going to be going over in that specific class, we're going over hacking traffic and as well as how to create content automated using Jarvis. Jarvis is an AI. It does not look like freaking spin content. I've written yesterday alone 10,000 words of content within less than 2 hours. So, and it doesn't look spinned, it looks natural. And he's the one that introduced me to it, because when they first told me about it, I was like, yeah, I don't believe that's crap, probably, because everything you always hear it, and you hear it so much, you just get tired of hearing it. So
how do you get to Jarvis? Is it jarvis.com?
No, it's conversion, and I'll drop it in. And it goes up to $99 at the end of today. So you're going to want to get it now. And it has 3 seats. No, it's not an affiliate link. This is a direct link. Go on there and buy it. $99 for 3 seats. Unlimited. And this, I mean, once you see it, you see exactly what it does. It's amazing. I mean, the content, I can give you an example why I want to bring him on and show you all this. Let me get over here real quick and I'll read some to you.
Honestly, if you don't have it, you're doing yourself a disservice. This is like game changing.
Yeah, that's what I told him.
Huge disservice. Huge disservice.
When I found this and he told me, I just didn't believe it because of the sheer fact that, you know, you get so many like this one. Many new homeowners are surprised to learn that there is a lot of post-construction cleaning they need to do. This can include sweeping up debris, getting rid of old furniture and appliances, and more. However, this is not just crucial for the sake of tidiness. It's also important because it can make your home healthier. In today's blog post, we'll explore why proper post-construction cleaning is so vitally important to you and your family's health and safety. 2,000 words in life.
That's better than the content on my site, on all of my sites. I promise you, William. I was telling them that on a mastermind the other day. The stuff that the AI is pumping out now.
Oh, I told them, I said,
my website.
I'm telling all my partners they need to use it. If you want to help me pump out 2,000 words of content a day, you know, 10,000. You get, I've found for the most part in ranking at about 20,000 words is when Google goes, okay, we need to pay attention to this person. If you're pumping out more than 20,000 words of content, that's when you're going to start ranking very effectively. And when I use, for example, why I use 2,000 or 2,500, for example, with a press release with Quantum, you can use up to 2,500 words when I have the membership I have. And I'll take that content now, instead of ranking for 1 keyword or 2 keywords, I can rank for dozens of keywords using that content and the embeds that I do on it. So I'll
give you one hint that I've been doing with my sites. So whatever your question is in your H1 title, make sure you answer it in the first paragraph and highlight all the words. And there's a great snippet there.
Yeah.
I've won more snippets in the last 3 months than I have in my career.
Yeah, that's why if you look at a lot of the platforms, I'll tell you is like, okay, if you're optimizing for SEO, did you use your keyword in the meta title? Did you use it in the meta description? Is it in the first paragraph? It's why a lot of times you'll hear them, and everybody jokes about it, but I know me and him both talk about it. We know it works. Why does Chris go, This is CTR manipulation. This is CTR manipulation. I'm going to repeat it again. This video is about CTR manipulation because Google, who owns YouTube, hears that shit and then picks it up and goes, oh, we need to rank this person for CTR manipulation.
Have you seen his newest, it was last week, but he did an awesome study on CC. So if you have words across it, you should see the change in his video when he added, like his channel when he added it. Sick. So I'm gonna add it to everything of mine.
Yeah, me and him, I talked to him and then I watch his stuff and I'll comment. Like the reason why he came out and did the video on Parasite was because I mentioned it. And then I said, hey, you need to talk about Parasite. You know, I asked him a question, said, what do you think about Parasite and Barnacle SEO? Then he finally goes, oh, I need to do it. So he did the video on Parasite and Barnacle SEO. Then, you know, who came out with their course after that too. So, you know, so, but what is
Dog eat dog world, man.
I don't care.
We all know 1%. Let's put them all together and kill the world. That's what I say. Let's all work together.
Tomorrow we'll be back here on the same. Once this is done, I'll upload it onto the back end. Give me a few hours. It takes about that long to get it uploaded, and it will be on YouTube. But then also you have lifetime access to it, et cetera, et cetera. If you have your presentation, Brent, or your outline, send that over to me and I'll put that on the back end just for them, as well as your contact information, preferably name, phone number, email, stuff like that. And your
I'll drop it all in.
I'll put down there and your Facebook group, any of that stuff, man. And I told him, I'm going to ask you on here, put him on the spot. He ain't going to like it. I want Michael on here. He says he needs to talk to you. I'm pretty sure Brent thinks you're the man, Michael. I'm pretty sure you know more than act like you freaking know.
Puts him on the spot. That's the hot seat, baby.
I want Michael on here. The only problem, I don't think nobody, he smokes while he talks. Big freaking whoop-de-doo-dah. So, listen, Brent, please talk to your partner.
We'll see. We'll see what's what. We'll see what's what.
Now he wants to. We'll see what's. His exact words was, "I'm new to all this. I don't want to hear about this. If you don't have Michael Merlino, you're doing yourself a disjustice. Man's been changing his greeds from red to green, like crazy. Like people see mine and they go, "How did you get all number 1s and 2s?" This dude right here is another one. You'll watch his grids go from stricken 20, 30, whatever, 20s are all red to like 1s and 2s, but he's new to this. So
I was gonna buy a domain today, the green grid goblin. Oh man.
Can I have just one more second? I just want to thank all the guys that just joined my Facebook group. I appreciate that, or at least friended me. And it was a pleasure to be on here, man. You guys are a good group. You're being taught well, and if I can help, I'll work on my boy because he can ninja some stuff up like nobody else. And anytime you need some help, please let us know.
Thanks, Brent.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Brent. Appreciate it.
Great presentation. Thanks so much.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it. I'm new to all this.
Well, I will see you guys tomorrow. Tomorrow we'll basically just be going over, all right, so how do we set up YouTube Viper? How do we use it? Then the next day, same day maybe, how do we set up Google search? How do we go into Google Search Console? Google Search, if you ask me, out of everybody, I don't really use Ahrefs as much as most people would say use it. I do use it, but I'd prefer Google Search. Google Analytics and Google Search is her little sister. Out of the two, who do I trust more? Google Search Console. And there's a lot of SEOs that will tell you the same. And we're going to go over that, how to get information. How do I do my keyword research for ranking rent? I'll give you that stuff. The methods I'll show you most are going to be totally opposite of what most people do. So I will see you guys again tomorrow. It's great having you, and y'all have a good day. All right.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.